Hey everyone, Ryan here from Next Level Property Investing. Hope you're well. Teaching entrepreneurs just like you how to get into property. Today I want to talk about the 5 top tips to actually getting started in property. So number 1 is get educated. You see it time and time again, but it can be very, very costly if you don't get yourself well educated in this game and you make some costly mistakes by, investing in the wrong thing or getting some money stuck so you can't move forward. Or what I see time and time again is people, buying auction properties and they don't really know what they're doing. They can't complete quickly, so they get hit with the expensive fees. Or they don't cost up the refurb jobs properly, so they think it might be a £5,000-6,000 refurb and it ends up being a £10,000 or £15,000 refurb. Sometimes people don't actually have the money to finish the jobs off, so they have to just put them up for sale at ridiculous amount of money and take losses. Another thing that I'm seeing time and time again is people are buying these rent to SA deals off deal sources and they're blowing fortunes. Over this year alone, we've probably taken on 20 investors that have been working with a deal sourcing company who's quite a big name and obviously have a very good sales pitch, but the deals that they're getting pitched are total rubbish. And because the investor that's buying the deal isn't educated, they're not doing the proper due diligence on the serviced accommodation side of things, they're getting burned. They're paying for the expensive furniture packs. They're getting these glossy figures which look great on paper, which aren't coming through, on the front end in the real situation, and then they're panicking because they've overpaid for the rents on the properties and they're starting to blow money every single month, and I'm seeing it time and time again, and it really frustrates me that companies are doing this. But at the end of the day, if you're not educated, you're going to make these costly mistakes. So before you dive into any deals, make sure you're educated. Now you can do this in many ways. You can listen to podcasts. You can get books, you can get free PDFs, you can go to seminars, and obviously you can get mentorships. There's plenty of people, including myself, that mentor people to get them into the property game and make sure that they don't make any mistakes. So that is tip number 1. Tip number 2, surround yourself with experienced people. Whether you're going to networking events, whether you're going to, mentorships, or whether you're just, going to estate agents all the time, or, you see some property investors that you might know, or, there might be an old guy in your golf club that's maybe into property and he's got a few under his belt. Surround yourself with these type of people and just ask the right questions, ask how they got started, ask what lessons they've learned, ask what mistakes they've made. That's the main thing. You don't really need to pay attention to how much money they're making, or, what's I suppose working well for them is a good question to ask, but really you want to dig into that what didn't work so you can avoid it. And I think that is one of the biggest things that puts people off as well, is the confidence factor, which we'll come on to. But you want to be making sure that you understand what can go wrong. When you know what can go wrong, you can look to avoid it. And I think for me, that's been one of the biggest things for me that's scaled my property business without, touch wood, too much pain. Most of the ventures that I've gone into, if not all, I've made money, and we continue to repeat the process and we continue to make more and more money. And that's the idea of the game. I don't want to be getting into ventures that are going to be losing money, or if I maybe put them onto one strategy and it doesn't work, I need to know that I can put it onto another strategy and make it a break-even deal at worst. That has to be the worst case scenario, is a break-even deal. So far I've executed that quite well, and hopefully I do believe and I'm confident in my strategies and the way I do my due diligence, because the education that I've got and because the experience I've got, that I can make the right decisions, get into the right properties, but more importantly, avoid the wrong properties. Tip number 3, make friends and build relationships. Now this is huge. The property game is a great game because people are willing to share their knowledge. They will share, and an experienced person will tell a novice person exactly how they've done it, line for line, because there's so many properties out there. It doesn't matter how much money you've got, you will always run out of money in property, and it doesn't matter how much money you've got, you can never buy all the property in the UK. So, or even in your gold mine area, it's nigh on impossible. You'd have to have billions, so property investors like to share their strategies, they like to talk, they like to show off at times, they like to talk about the stresses and the strains, they like to have a bitch and a moan about tenants and guests, but that's part of the game. But build relationships with these type of people, build relationships with the estate agents, the estate agents, the valuers. A good friend of mine, Tony Fairs, he's just recently been on the Tej Tej Talks podcast, and also he was on one of my shows, which is on my YouTube channel. We talked a lot about how to work with estate agents. I work with Tony, and we have a great relationship, and he passes me good deals, and we JV on some stuff, and it's a relationship that's formed from getting to know one another, finding out what each other wants, and seeing how my skill set can complement his skill set, and vice versa. And at times in property, there's plenty of those relationships to be built. You might meet an investor who has loads of money but doesn't really know how to get into property, or you might be into property but doing it the wrong way. You might be able to show him a better way to do it. He might bring the money, you might bring the education, the experience, the skill set. You might project manage, you might do all the sort of time consuming stuff because they might not have time. So various relationships form various different property businesses, and the main thing is though, you've got to build the relationships. And I say it time and time again, you can't buy deals from behind a laptop, and you shouldn't be going on viewings to look at a house. You should be going on viewings to build a relationship, make your property business better, and make your network bigger and bigger. The bigger your network, the more you're known, you get yourself out of obscurity, the more deals you're going to get. And that served me very, very well. I'm all over the internet, I'm all over the Northeast. People know what we do. We know we're a big player in the service accommodation game. They know we've got plenty of HMOs so we can house tenants. We know we've got lots of single lets, so people will reach out to us whenever they've got tenants looking for houses. So we're known. If I sat behind my laptop, if I didn't shout about what we do, then people wouldn't know, and therefore we wouldn't get as many deals. So get yourself out there, build relationships, make people known exactly who you are and what you do. Tip number 4 is you've got to take action. You can't read books, you can't go to free seminars, you can't listen to podcasts all your life. At the end of the day, all well and good, you could be the most knowledgeable person in the world, but until you actually start taking some action, it's absolutely pointless. I'll give you a good example, bit of a different feel, but when I was trying to be a professional golfer back when I was sort of 18, 19, myself and there was another kid, and we used to practice all day, every day. I used to go off and play tournaments all the time, but he wanted to stay at the driving range. He wanted to perfect his swing, he wanted to perfect his putting stroke, he wanted to hit balls all day long, and work on his skill set, and just keep doing it and doing it and doing it. But I wanted to go out there and take action. I was happier out on the course, learning through trial and error, and getting those bumps, and getting that game experience. And for me, when this other lad came into my arena, when he started playing competitions, he was no good. On a range, had a great swing, knew everything, knew what was doing, knew the techniques, had it down to a T, but put him into real life situation, couldn't execute because he wasn't used to taking action, and he never took action often enough to make it worthwhile and grind his scores out. So it's the same with property. I see it time and time again. Far too many people try to analyze deals from behind a computer screen. They want to get the perfect deal. The perfect deal doesn't really exist. You've got to get out there and take some action. You've got to be building relationships. You've got to be doing the viewings. You've got to be dropping into the estate agents. You've got to be picking the phone up to estate agents, to landlords, to investors. You've got to be on Facebook. There's so many things that you can do to get yourself out there and take action. And action leads to results. The more activity you put in the top of your sales funnel, because property is just a sales funnel. The more activity you put in the top of your sales funnel, the more that comes out the bottom of the sales funnel. And that is 100% how I scaled quickly. I went out there, I took a massive amount of action. If you haven't read it already, read Grant Cardone's 10x rule. That book alone changed my mindset. I thought I was doing enough. Many of you probably think you're doing enough, but you're not getting the results. Read that book, you'll realize you're not doing half enough, and you need to up your game. When you do, you'll start seeing some massive changes in your results, and that is one thing that happened for me, and obviously got the portfolio to where it is right now. Finally, tip number 5, don't be afraid. I see it time and time again, but confidence and the fear factor. What if it goes wrong? What if this happens? What if I lose money? What if it goes right? What if you make loads of money? What if it's the best thing you've ever done? That's how I think, and I think you need to change your mindset if that's you. So don't, I see it all the time, the confidence factor, especially with mentees that I take on board. Some of them know everything, some of them we don't have to do so much of the educational work with. I have to do a lot of the sort of arm around the shoulder and, this is the right deal, double checking that deals for them and giving them that confidence boost that they're getting into the right deal, that they know what they're doing, and they then take the action. Without me, they wouldn't. They would simply just sit on the sidelines, and there's many people like that. So, this is where getting a good mentor or getting around the right people to really give you that confidence boost can pay dividends, because there'll be deals that, you know, people that aren't so confident, there'll be deals that work that go across their desk, but they just haven't got that confidence to pull the trigger because they haven't got the confidence in themselves, maybe because they're inexperienced, maybe it's their first deal, you know, but you've got to pull the action, you've got to pull the trigger. You know, if you don't pull the trigger, you're never going to acquire anything. You know, at the end of the day, property investment is a risk. You know, what we try to do is de-risk it as much as we possibly can. There's still a risk. Every time I invest, there's a risk, but I'm confident that what I'm doing is right. And, you know, I would say 99 out of 100, it pays off, you know, and it's served me well so far. Don't get me wrong, you know, I'm not superhuman. I'm not susceptible to, you know, market crashes or, you know, an absolute, you know, pandemic that, you know, obviously we've just been through. But, you know, we figure ways out, and by de-risking your portfolio, making the right educated decisions, 9 times out of 10, you're going to stay on the right side of the, you know, investment circle, and you're going to make money. But if you haven't got the confidence to get there in the first place, if you're not prepared to take the action, you're never going to get anything. You're never going to get the experience. You know, you cannot become experienced reading books and watching free webinars. You know, that is a fact. The only way you get experience is getting stuck in, getting on the front line. You know, I'm in one of my HMO refurbs now. I like to drop in on the projects. I like to make sure everything's on track, and I like to see what's going on. You know, time and time again, doesn't matter how experienced you are. You know, the other day I discovered that we've got a HMO refurb up the road, which is on total grind because of a garden. Now, you might say, well, that's mental, but the only access to clear the garden out is through the house. You can't get either side because of houses, and you can't get the back because of houses. So the decorators can't get in, the flooring can't go down. You know, we can't move forward with this house until I can get a gardener in there to landscape the garden and pull all the crap through the house. Something, in all honesty, that I just, when I looked around the house, just didn't even think about. You know, I saw it was a garden. I thought, yep, that's going to cost 500-600 quid to get sorted out. You know, so I did my analysis on it, but I've totally forgot about the logistics of getting all that crap back through the house, and it's got the house on gridlock, which is probably going to cost me 2 or 3 weeks worth of rent. Not ideal, you know, but experience. You know, it doesn't matter how experienced you are. I've gained another experience. I guarantee you, next time I go to look at an investment and see a bad garden, I'll know that where's the exit for the rubbish. How can we get that garden out? Do we need to get the garden started before we start the whole project? You know, so little things like that happen all the time from taking action, and it's crucially important that you take action. So, you know, with that in mind, I want you to take some action now. I want you to hit the little bell notification, and I want you to subscribe to my channel to make sure you get a video. We drop videos every single day. So, you know, all how-tos, my experiences, top tips, whatever it might be, I want to make sure you get them in your inbox when we deliver them. I want you to make a comment below. I want you to tell me what videos you want to see. I want you to tell me what you think of these top tips. I want you to tell me what you're struggling with. I'm here to help you. And finally, if you want to take your game to the next level, log on to nextlevelpropertyinvesting.com, schedule a call with myself, 30 minutes free. Let's